It's Lizbeth again at Persistence U with Lizbeth podcast. Find me at LaMeredith.com and sign up for my email. One of the last things David Crow talked about, the author of The Pale-Faced Lie, one of the things he spoke about and we chit-chatted about was sometimes writing can be a real healing part of our journey. Journaling doesn't have to be for publication, or it can be. It absolutely can be. Although I don't recommend it if it's about super traumatic events unless you've had the right support around you first. But writing can be so impactful because there's something beautiful about releasing the experience to a page. It literally helps when you write about things. When we write about things we've gone through, it can help release some of the feelings and hurt. It can also help us dig deeper into what was going on in the minds of other people or what was going on in their lives of the people who really hurt us, and help us not personalize it for life, not get stuck in the moment of trauma. I love that he talks about writing and what that meant for him, but it also helped inspire in him, in the author David Crow, forgiveness. And I feel like that's such an important part of our lives. It doesn't mean that we run back up to the person that's injured us and sign up for a new portion of the same old dysfunction over and over. Forgiveness does not need to mean signing back up for being pummeled in bad behavior, but it can mean so much. It's such a release for the person forgiving to be able to move forward, to not harbor a grudge or resentment. And writing can be so terrific. I teach once in a great while, I'll teach a workshop on getting started on your memoir. And when I first started writing my memoir, I thought, what goes into the memoir? Well, a memoir is different than a biography, even though some people use those terms interchangeably. They're not the same. But you're looking at a memoir for that period of life, that slice of life where things got much either better, you grew as a person due to some event that bisected your life. There was life before the event, there was life after the event, and those things were changed. And so you're covering that change. Or maybe the person who's writing, their life in a memoir got much worse. Maybe they were a great person and then they got caught up in drugs or alcohol or whatever, and things devolved. And maybe they started a life of crime late in life. But whichever it is, typically that's what we mean in a memoir. It's a period of life. But when you first start writing your experiences, this is what I tell students, you just start writing. You do not worry about what are they going to say legally? What about changing names? What if I can't write? What are my friends going to think? My family going to think? Don't even think about that right at first, because you're just writing for the sake of writing. Write what happened. Write like you're writing to a best friend of yours in that voice. You don't need to pass it around or tell people that you're doing it or anything. Just see if it starts to feel better and how it sits with you. How does it land for you to write some of these things? Worrying about publication and legal stuff and changing names and floating your writing by other people who are included in it, that can come later if you get there, if you decide that's where you want to go. But give yourself the luxury of just devoting some time to writing things out. If you've had the right support in the past, like we talked about, therapy or group support, or some people even go to hypnotherapy, whatever it is that has helped you get support and unpack some of the hard things, then you're going through doing some of the writing. It just may feel so terrific to know that this is a story. Our lives are a story. To me, my life has always felt like a story. There's the beginning part. You didn't ask for it. You inherited it. You didn't choose what gender you were necessarily. You didn't choose which family you were born into, how wealthy they were, what your parents' jobs were or were not, what race you are, all of those things. We got no choice. We got handed the early chapters. In the middle part, we get to look at it. We need to be mindful and assess it and see, what is the life I want to be proud of to live? And what work do I need to do to make sure that I get to that place as well as possible. Maybe not perfectly, but to continue on the journey where I have a life that I can feel good about. And I think thinking of my life as a story when things were super rough, when, there was violence in the home growing up, and then I married a violent partner, and then my children were kidnapped. Keeping in mind, I used to say to myself, my life is a story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I want to do everything I can to do the work to love the ending. I can't control everything. My life isn't in my control. I can't positively think my way out of a bad situation. But there's work to be done. And then it felt less personal. Something about knowing my life was a story, one of billions, made it all feel less personal, less painful, and frankly, more positive. I had some options to reframe the middle and final chapters. Still working at it. I'm writing a book about this as we speak, but about some of that journey of getting better. But David Crow in his interview just does such a great job encapsulating what writing has meant to him, what healing has meant, and what a wonderful life he's had after such a bumpy start that he didn't ask for. I hope you listen to it. Find me at LaMeredith.com. See you soon.